I need your Wi-Fi to upload right now.
Whoa, calm down. What's going on?
It's all doors.
Sir, he refused to give my son his password. Can you imagine?
Ma'am, calm down. What's the problem?
I need your Wi-Fi password now. That was the sentence that cracked my peaceful evening in half. If you love powerful, funny, jaw-dropping stories, you don't want to miss this one. But before we continue, tell us where you're watching from. It genuinely makes us happy to see how far our stories travel. Now listen. It was early evening, that soft, quiet hour when the world finally stops asking for things. Then the doorbell rang, 3 sharp chimes back to back, like whoever stood outside had somewhere important to be and 0 patience for manners. When I opened the door, I found Evan, Karen's 17-year-old son, standing there with his phone shoved inches from my face. The screen glowed at 12%, frozen mid-upload. My mom cut off my data, he announced, already annoyed. I need your Wi-Fi. No greeting, no explanation, just a demand delivered with the confidence of someone who had never been told no and believed the word neighbor meant resource. I'm not giving out my Wi-Fi password, I said calmly. His expression shifted instantly. Same tight jaw, same offended glare I'd seen Karen wear during HOA meetings when reality didn't bend fast enough. What? I can literally see your network from my room. Full bars, he scoffed. I'll only use it to upload. That's not how private internet works, I replied. His voice rose. You're being selfish. And right then, standing on my porch, Evan crossed his arms and said the words that would change everything. Fine, I'll call the cops. I figured the threat to call the cops was just noise. Teen bravado, empty calories. Then I checked my mailbox. Right on top of the pizza coupon sat an HOA violation notice, thick paper, bold lettering, and that unmistakable tone, Karen's tone, the kind that assumed guilt before you finished reading. According to the letter, I had failed to demonstrate community cooperation by refusing reasonable access to shared neighborhood resources. Shared neighborhood resources. My Wi-Fi. I laughed so hard my neighbor waved to see if I was okay. An hour later, another letter arrived. This one accused me of creating hostility and undermining community harmony. By sunset, a third followed, warning of further action if I continued withholding services from a resident. Karen hadn't wasted a second. She'd taken her son's tantrum and wrapped it in letterhead. Across the street, Evan paced like a shark that smelled bandwidth. Phone held high, head tilted, watching signal bars flicker. I spotted him later, parked near the community center, engine running, trying to steal a connection through concrete walls and hope. It would have been funny if it weren't so revealing. Karen had raised him watching rules bend when she spoke loud enough, watching authority perform instead of function. Of course, he thought the internet belonged to him. The next morning, my doorbell rang again. Same kid, same phone. This time, he smirked. I talked to my mom, Evan said. She says you have to share. It's basically a public utility. That's when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding anymore. It was a power play. The next knock came before noon. Evan stood on my porch again, phone already in his hand, eyes bright with the kind of confidence that only comes from believing authority will always back you up. Last chance, he said. Give me the password or I'm calling 911. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. Evan, I said, keeping my voice calm, Wi-Fi is not a public utility. Yes, it is, he snapped, repeating it like a slogan. The internet is basically electricity now. Everyone needs it. And before I could stop him, he pressed call. I stood there frozen as the dispatcher answered. 911, what's your emergency? Evan straightened his posture. My neighbor is withholding public utilities. He refuses to give me access to his Wi-Fi. There was a pause, a long one. Sir, the dispatcher asked, are you without power, water, or gas? Well, no, Evan admitted, but I need internet. Another pause. He swallowed. An officer will be dispatched, the dispatcher said. Please remain where you are. 15 minutes later, a patrol car rolled up. As the officer stepped out, Karen appeared like she'd been summoned by drama itself. Marching across the lawn, HOA badge shining, confidence loud. By the time the officer finished listening, Evan's bravado had evaporated. Karen's authority meant nothing, and the words misuse of emergency services landed like a hammer. The neighborhood had gathered, phones were out, silence was loud, and in that moment, Karen realized she'd finally pushed too far. If you're enjoying this story, like, comment, and subscribe, because what happens next is where the real consequences hit. The officer didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He explained slowly, clearly, that Wi Fi was private property, that no law required sharing it, and that calling 911 over internet access was a serious misuse of emergency services. Evan's face drained of color as the words formal warning landed. Karen tried to interrupt, twice, but authority doesn't bend just because it wears a blazer. By the time the patrol car pulled away, half the neighborhood had witnessed everything. That night, the story spread faster than Evan ever could have uploaded a video. Group chats lit up. Someone posted a clip of Karen arguing with the officer. Someone else added captions. By morning, the HOA board couldn't pretend nothing had happened. 3 days later, an emergency meeting was called. Karen arrived stiff-backed, chin high, convinced volume could still save her. It couldn't. One by one, board members spoke about abuse of authority, false notices, public embarrassment. When the vote came, it was unanimous. Karen was removed. No shouting, no drama, just a gavel and silence. Evan lost access to the community center for a month for the 911 stunt. No Wi-Fi there. No audience. Just consequences, something neither of them had practiced much. That evening, I made one small change. I renamed my network. No free Wi-Fi, no free power trips. Across the street, Karen's lights went out early. The house that once ruled the block sat quiet, finally ordinary. And I realized something beautiful in all of it. The sweetest revenge isn't loud. It's watching people lose power they never deserved to hold. If this story made you smile, shake your head, or laugh out loud, like, comment, and subscribe. And tell us where you're watching from. It truly makes us happy to see how far our stories travel.